There is one document that can decide whether you become a landowner or a victim. A lot of buyers obsess over the deed of assignment like it's the holy grail, while completely ignoring the document that actually protects their money from day one, the contract of sale. Get these documents wrong and your hard-earned money can disappear faster than an agent saying, Oga, another buyer is interested. So in this video, I'm going to show you what a contract of sale actually is, the dangerous mistakes people make, the exact things you must check before signing anything, and the questions every serious land buyer should be asking. Welcome back to the channel. In case you are seeing me for the first time, my name is Bisola. They call me Wildflower. I'm the proprietor of ABC Trusts and I'm the lead consultant. We help Nigerians at home and abroad to invest safely and confidently in the dynamic Nigerian real estate market. If this is the first time you are seeing my video, you need to subscribe right now because you might never find me again. And I always post useful real estate related content on my channel. A very big shout out to Miss K from France who inspired me to create this video. She signed up for consultation. We did some background check for her concerning her next land purchase. And then in the process of that conversation, we ended up talking about a land she bought years back without the appropriate paperwork. No deed of assignment, no contract of sale. Thankfully, everything is now resolved. But what if you are in her shoes? You paid for the land, but you did not know the appropriate documents you should ask for. So that's why you need to watch this video, and that's the major reason I am creating it just for you. Let's simplify this completely. A contract of sale is basically the official written agreement before ownership is fully transferred. Take note that I said before. So think of it this way. The deed of assignment is the wedding certificate, but the contract of sale is the engagement ring. It's the document that says, I agree to buy this specific land for this specific amount, and the seller agrees to transfer it under certain conditions. Without the contract of sale, you are relying on just WhatsApp chat, voice notes, screenshots, and pure trust. And in real estate, trust without documentation is how people lose millions. Now, if your contract of sale does not contain these four things, pause the transaction immediately. First, the actual price must be clearly stated. This is very important because some developers intentionally reduce the amount written on the contract to avoid taxes or fees. So maybe you paid 5 million naira, but the document says 2 million naira. Huge mistake. Because if there is ever a dispute or a refund issue or even a court case, the law only recognizes what is written on paper, not what was verbally discussed or agreed privately. If the contract says 2 million naira, that is what officially exists. Second, the contract must contain the real owner's details. It should clearly state the seller's full name, address, and legal identity, not just chairman, agent, my oga. You need to confirm that the person signing actually has the legal authority to sell that land, because many buyers mistakenly pay agents who have zero ownership rights. Your contract of sale should clearly identify the actual owner or the company with legal authority to transfer ownership. Third, the land must be properly described. The contract should contain the location, survey details, and coordinates where possible, not vague descriptions like land at Shangotedu. Because if the description is weak, they can easily relocate your allocation later and suddenly your investment ends up beside a swamp or under a power line. And fourth, the contract must explain what happens if things go wrong. A proper contract of sale should clearly state what happens if the developer delays allocation, if they change the location, if they refuse a refund, or if they fail to deliver entirely. Many buyers only focus on the sweet parts like promo ends tomorrow or instant allocation, but the real protection is usually hidden inside the refund and default clauses. Now let me give you a bonus tip. You should never forget the terms. Under which conditions are you both establishing the transaction? Are you doing a payment plan or you are going to pay in full? How will the land be operated if it's a service estate? When will you be allocated? These and other future projections should be taken into consideration in a contract of sale. But beyond all of this, there is another layer that most people completely ignore. Before signing your contract of sale, you need to think like an investor, not just an excited buyer. And I always say this in my video, because once money leaves your account, emotions won't protect you. It is only the questions you ask that will protect you. A very big shout out to my clients. I appreciate the fact that they always go through their contract of sales diligently and ask questions. One of the questions you should ask is this: what infrastructure is actually guaranteed? Some estates advertise roads, drainage, electricity, security, recreational areas, and commercial zones, but the contract says absolutely nothing about them. If the promised infrastructure is not documented anywhere, you may later discover it was only marketing. Another important question is, what exactly am I paying for? Because you should never assume anything in Nigerian real estate. Some buyers think their payment covers documentation, survey, deed, fencing, allocation, infrastructure, development levy, etc., only to discover years later endless hidden charges. Your contract should clearly state the land size, what is included, what is excluded, and every additional fee that may arise later. If it is not written down, treat it like it doesn't exist. And you should also ask, what happens if the company delays allocation? This is a major issue in many estates. Some developers promise allocation in 6 months, and 2 years later, buyers are still hearing we are working on infrastructure. Your contract should clearly state allocation timelines, refund conditions, penalty clauses, and what happens if the seller fails to meet their obligations. And another smart question you can ask is, can I get my money back if something goes wrong? I remember during the conversation I was having with Miss Kate when she she asked if she could ask for a refund. I told her to check the details in the contract of sale. The reality is, many buyers assume refunds are automatic until they actually request one. Then suddenly you will discover deductions, hidden clauses, administrative charges, and refund delays buried deep inside the agreement. A proper contract of sale usually carry all these details, and it will explain the refund process clearly. You can also ask if you are buying directly from the owner or through the middleman, because every extra layer increases the risk of misinformation, inflated pricing, and disputes. In some cases, the actual owner may not even know the land is being marketed at the price you are paying. That's why it's always advisable to work with a trusted professional. All right. Another question you can ask is, when exactly will you receive your deed of assignment? Some buyers pay fully and wait years for documentation. Your contract of sale should clearly explain the documentation process, the timeline, and the conditions attached. Another smart question is this: can this land legally be used for what I want? Maybe you want residential use, commercial use, shortlets, warehouse, or mixed use development. Some lands have restrictions that buyers sometimes never discover until later, and that later might be too late. You can also ask who is responsible for perfection of the title and the registration costs, because many people focus only on the land price without realizing perfection costs can become significant later on. All these things are meant to be included in your contract of sale. Another important question is, what happens if the company changes management or ownership? Will your documentation still remain valid? Will the obligation still stand? This is especially important with newer real estate companies. And perhaps one of the biggest questions is this: have I actually read this contract properly? Or am I just rushing because of fear? I always give my clients timeline of like 2 weeks. in case they have other things to do, so that they can calm down and go through the contract and understand everything that needs to be understood. Your contract of sale is meant to be read. It's not just a document, it's not just for decoration. It is meant to be read, understood, and digested. So you have to ask yourself, have I actually read this contract properly, or am I just rushing because of fear? Because pressure is one of the oldest tricks in Nigerian real estate. We see this every time. The promo ends tomorrow, another buyer is interested, prices are increasing next week. Fear and urgency make people ignore red flags. All of this, but that does not cancel out the significance of going through your contract of sale. This is what many people don't understand. If there is ever a dispute over the land, your contract of sale becomes one of your strongest legal protections. Whether you've not gotten your deed of assignment or whether you've got your deed of assignment. Not just WhatsApp chat or screenshots, not verbal promises, not receipts. The contract is what transforms your story into evidence. It proves what was promised, who promised it, how much was paid, and the exact terms of the transaction. In real estate, documentation is everything. And listen carefully, there is no such thing as a temporary deed or an emergency deed or a provisional assignment. If someone tells you, just sign this one first, we'll give you proper documentation later, be very careful. A real contract is either valid or not. Pressure is one of the oldest tricks in Nigerian real estate, like I said. It is better to miss a deal than to inherit a lawsuit. Real estate is not just about buying land, it's about buying correctly. And a good investment is not only profitable, it is also protected. So if you've ever received a land document that looked suspicious, or you are currently buying land and you are not sure what you are looking at, drop your questions in the comments. I'm going to respond to every single one of them. And if you want a personalized service, you can book my consultation for $70, where we get to address your issues. It's a personalized service tailored for just you and I, and it runs typically for 90 days. If this video helped you understand real estate documentation better, I need you to like the video as a form of support. It will encourage me to do better. And in case you want to buy land or property in Lagos, Nigeria, or its environs, send me a WhatsApp message via my contact displayed on the screen. I don't just sell, I advise. And please subscribe to my channel for more practical real estate insights that can save you money, save you stress, and save you costly mistakes. Always remember, when it comes to real estate investing, you are not just a buyer, you are an investor. I love you all. Happy investing.